Hello everyone, I work on shitload of different things. If you've been following me for a bit now, you know that I am a full-time software engineer working with full-stack technologies. On this channel, as side projects, I talked about this robot that I am currently building, my engineering degrees into robotics and mechatronics, and I also have a huge thing for anything 3D, which is real-time stuff, or maybe pre-calculated images like Blender, for example. And on my portfolio, which I consider my interactive CV, if you wish, I showcase those different technologies that I am talking to you about. And because of my engineering and discovery endeavors, sometimes I get the question of how do I learn something new? The first thing I want to tackle is that I am pretty sure that the more you age, the more it's difficult to learn something new. Your brain doesn't work the same, you have less time to focus on your hobbies, with more important things like, for example, a wife and a family, and it just overall takes you more energy to sit down and actually get something new into your brain. So again, these are theoretical. I got this thing in my mind after talking about it with some older colleagues, and another thing that I'm trying to focus on is that I am in my 20s, and you can read literally everywhere that this is the time where you need to discover as many things as possible. I would have loved to start my discovering journeys earlier, but now, after almost 7 years of trying to learn something new every single week, this is the pattern I usually go through. First of all, what to learn? Right? That is something I'm sure you read absolutely everywhere, and everybody is saying that to you if this is your career path. Being curious is the first step. And not only that, I would also add on top of it that you should try to make your environment so that you are always stimulated by new things that you could potentially be attracted towards, learning-wise, I'm saying. That is following, for example, a couple of tech YouTube channels so that it can pop up on your timeline. Same thing with different social media, following a couple newsletters, and so on and so forth. So if you get this stimulus, and you actually find something new that you would be interested in, now is the moment where you start. Until I would say end of last year, in 2023, I was a strong advocate of, if you want to learn something, try to do a project, have an end goal, and learn the things along the way. I was absolutely sure of that, and this is how I learned most of the things I know today. But I am pretty sure this is not the most optimized. I recently made a video exactly about this that is popping on your screen right now, about the importance of reading documentation. To make a long story short, at work, I was staffed with a pretty big responsibility of refactoring an entire system to a newer, more adapted technology, and I didn't know nothing about it. And so, as I just told you, I directly jumped straight into it, knowing approximately where I wanted to go, and trying to use the documentation as I needed along the way. And did it work? Hell no. Hell the fuck no. This was the first time I realized that when you don't know nothing about a particular technology, actually properly reading the docs, at least the getting started or the base application you can build with it, is such a huge gain of time, because you don't have that self-research on your side to try to understand what are the conventions, let's say, using this or that technology. And that was super huge. This was something that made me evolve so much quicker as a software engineer. So from that point, every time I am interested in a new technology, I am trying to find the actual documentation and read as much about it as possible to try to understand the conventions, what it is actually used for, and how to use the basic principles of that technology. A second thing is, and I talked about it a lot, starting a new project is very easy, very exciting. The hard part is actually sticking to it for as long as possible until you run into some blockers. The blockers, these are the ones that are insanely frustrating, but these are also the times where you learn the most about something, and that's for sure. Building this little piece of garbage right there, I had multiple times where I actually wanted to quit, being pretty sure I was lacking some fundamental knowledge, but sticking to it, sitting down, trying to understand what was wrong, was the thing that made me gap drastically in that particular domain. And that's the case for every single technology I now consider myself a confirmed developer at. Yeah, this is a good meme right there. This is a good representation of what exactly not to do. I will definitely link this article in the comment section. But yeah, you get the idea. Once you start something, try to plan what we could call feature releases and stick to those. So yeah, that particular tip, this is big. Now the one I want to talk about, because it's a very different approach of learning, is these things right there. Those are called books. And it was during summer 2021. I was reading a book about habit planning. Oh, actually, let me get it. This baby right there. A lot of you know about. If you are considering to read it, do it. It's a very good book. And after finishing that one, I thought to myself in 2021, I never was a good reader. I never really enjoyed it. I never really liked it. But I also knew in the back of my mind the benefits of reading a book. Well, first of all, health-wise, not looking at the screen, a thing, by the way, you can do as a software engineer. You will not die if you don't do it. The second one, literacy, right? Learning some new words, the brain activity of saying certain sentences, making you a better speaker, and also a better reader. In this video, we talked about documentation reading. If you read on the side and you actually used to do that, you're going to be faster at it, trying to understand different patterns, where to look for the information when you are looking at a particular text, for example. And so at the end of that book, I gave myself the challenge to read at least once every single day. Not giving myself a minimum of pages, just literally opening a book. It can be 1 page, it can be 20, it can be 2 sentences, but at least opening a book every single day, which is something I did. And boy, oh boy, do I wish I did that earlier. I mainly read self-development books and also about engineering and also technology and essays like this. And when you read, you obviously have the content of the book itself, but you also have all of the advantages I mentioned right before. So if I was speaking to my 15-year-old self and giving him tips about what to do right now, reading actual books maybe is the first thing I would have said to this younger Marius. Anyways, this is the end of today. Thank you for sticking around until the end. Let me know in the comments, how do you learn new stuff? This is the kind of conversation that I love to have with fellow software engineers. And even if you're not a software engineer, by the way. How do you go about learning something new? That's it for today. I hope your week is going great, and I will see you all very soon on the internet. Bye bye, everyone.